Everybody, this is another episode of the Nerdy Old Men podcast, and it is just about Christmas time, Redneck Wes.
Oh, I love Christmas time. I mean, it's a lot of fun, a lot of good memories, and I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
We're going to talk about that today, and we brought along, and I know you guys have heard us talk about him before, but my good brother, as we affectionately call him in the Dungeons & Dragons game, Meatshield Jay. Jay, how are you today?
It's good to be here. I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Yeah, all right. And I also got my old friend that I went to the police academy with eons ago, back when I was doing the police work, John Morgan. John, how are you, buddy?
Good. Glad to be on here.
Yeah. Well, Jay, let's start with you, buddy. Tell the listeners and the fans of the Nerdy Old Men podcast how you fit in with our bunch of geeks here.
Well, as you've already said, I'm Chad's younger brother. I started playing D&D with them here just recently in this most recent campaign, the Tomb of Annihilation.
And he's regretted every moment of it.
Yeah, literally my first roll was a 1, so way to welcome me to
hey, if you're going to do it, Jay, you got to do it right, man. That's the way to go.
You can't get any better than that.
Only up from there, man. Only up from there.
Yeah, it literally, you can't roll any worse. But anyways, yeah, I'd never played D&D before, so I'm kind of learning the ropes as we go, and it's been a blast, really. I'm really loving it. But also, ever since I was younger, I kind of grew up in the generation of video games where, me and my friends, we would get together and play on a N64 and Super Nintendo. And as I moved into high school, the internet kind of came in, and we could play things like Halo 3 and Call of Duty and things like that. I also read, Marvel and DC comics. I tend to read more on the DC side,
That's
Batman.
because he's smart.
Nobody's perfect, Jay. We still love you.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching, the 90s Batman and Spider-Man and X-Men, which I personally still think are the greatest cartoon versions of those superheroes. And I also got into a little bit of the Japanese anime with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and now recently Dragon Ball Super.
What about Dragon Ball GT there, Jay?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
John growls.
Yeah, that's making Goku little again was probably the worst decision they could have ever made.
Those need to be the forgotten episodes.
Yes, right.
But I will say Super Saiyan 4 is really cool. But other than that, it's kind of a bust for me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Can't forget the Power Rangers as well.
Well, yes, and I know we'll talk about Power Rangers in a little bit, because that's what I remember from my brother's youth as Power Rangers. But John, as I have you listed as John the Clone on here, because I know you're a huge Star Wars guy too. But tell us about John.
Trying to think of
There's
where to
just
begin.
so much.
I know. Well, I'm 48, and I'm still a big. I mean, everybody looks at me and they're like, "You're a nerd."
Yeah.
You collect toys.
Yeah, a little backstory. John is a gigantic man. Okay, so he's super tall, broad shoulders. He's a police officer, has been for 20 years.
Oh yeah.
And so you look at him and you're like, "You collect toys?" Yes, by golly, he does, and only the finest.
I remember I was come out of the academy and I was on one of the squads, and it's all like alpha males and all that, all of us policemen, we go in and we all sit in our roll call and we all talk about stuff, and especially after a weekend, it's like you go in, it's like, hey, I went out, I got drunk this weekend, I partied, this or that, What'd you do, John? I went to a toy show and sold toys.
Which would be much better than going out and drinking.
That's true.
Yeah, they're like, do what? You sold toys? how much money did you make? And I'm like, oh, in 2 days, $2,500. And they're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute now.
Hang on a minute.
And they're like, so what are you selling? I said, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, Star Wars. And they're like, those things in my parents' garage are worth money? Yeah, they are. Do you want to sell them to me?
Because John always tries to buy mine anytime I post anything that I
Yeah.
found.
Yeah.
But you, like when you were a kid, I mean, what you kind of grew up with? I mean, you're a Star Wars guy. I know that for a fact, right? I mean, so I guess that's like the thing you like the most.
Yeah, I was born in '72, so about the time Star Wars come out in '76, I don't really remember it. I mean, I vaguely remember the figures in the stores, and I remember buying some, getting some of them as presents, but I don't really think I remember, stuff until probably early '80s, when Empire Strikes Back come out, and that's when I really started getting into, collecting a lot of like the 3 1/4 figures of Star Wars and G.I. Joe, and I had some of the little show gun die-cast figures, and never G.I. Joe figures. I never really even remember seeing them that much. It was just the little 3 1/4s I remember getting more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that was like the main. Back then, at least that was the primary scale for everything, was at 3 3/4, right?
Yeah. But I remember here recently, I was asking my mom was going through pictures, and she was trying to give them all out to me and my 2 sisters. And I said, Mom, do you remember seeing pictures of me getting toys at Christmas? And she goes, I don't know, let me look. And so after she gave me the pictures and I went through them, I started finding pictures of me when I was a kid getting my G.I. Joes and Transformers, and I can't find any Masters of the Universe, which I know I had a lot of Masters of the Universe, but and I was like, that is so neat to see those, and I know I've taken pictures of my kids getting really special toys, and I hope that they will look back on that when they get my age.
Yeah, and that's what made me have the idea for this particular episode. The reason I contacted you, John, is because you posted those pictures of you getting those toys as a kid. I was like, oh, man. So I started flipping through an old book, and I found those. And it's funny, I've got one where I'm sitting in front of a couch at my grandparents' house, and behind me is a G.I. Joe Jeep. And what's the name of that Jeep? Do you know?
There's a Vamp.
Yeah, the Vamp. It's sitting on my shelf over here. In my G.I. Joe shelf that I've got over here, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because I just looked up there and it's the exact same piece of plastic. Of course it was new then, and now it's sitting up here, and I thought that was pretty cool. So that's what I kind of and so we're talking about it's Christmas time, and we were talking about the pictures and how that kind of brought back memories, and I remember one of the Christmases that I remember so vaguely or vividly is when I got Castle Grayskull, because you guys know I'm a Masters of the Universe guy. I don't know why, I've just always liked it so much. It
was cool.
I got 2 Detloff cabinets back here full of vintage guys behind me, all lit up in their glory, So, but I remember getting that, and it's something I wanted so desperately bad, this hunk of brittle plastic. But somehow my parents worked it out and got it for me. But I remember for like weeks prior to that, because back then the Bozo Show was a big thing. You guys remember the Bozo Show, right?
Yes.
And you could always win toys and stuff. And I kept having these reoccurring dreams that I won.
Make it to bucket 6.
Right, and I got the bucket 6, and I won the Castle Grayskull. And, and I had all these dreams, and then unbeknownst, Christmas morning, there it is. I'm like, holy crap, And the funny thing about that one is I think I got it one Christmas, and then I got Snake Mountain another Christmas. But one of those 2, I had a Transformer under the tree as well. And at the time, I had this dog, a boxer named Bandit. Well, Bandit ate Santa's cookies and then threw up on the Transformer.
Oh.
so I remember going and picking up the toys. I'm like, what is on the Transformer? So I just kind of set it down, and my mom or dad ran over and grabbed it and cleaned it off, but
Man, that was a good one.
Yeah, he was a good dog.
That was a good dog, yeah.
But that was one of my fondest toy Christmas mornings was being able to get that. Wes, what about you, buddy?
Well, I same thing. I got Castle Grayskull, and what was funny was I didn't ask for Castle Grayskull. It was. I can remember we went to Rose's up in La Follette when it was a store up in town, and that's where I got my first He-Man.
Yes.
Because I could remember I was with my mom. It was after school. She had to go in and get something, and then we were going to my mama's, and you walk in and there's like just the whole row, the whole aisle is He-Man figures, and I was like, oh, this guy's cool. Because for me, it's always been the battle axe that He-Man had. I just always thought that was just.
You're
so
the
cool.
battle axe guy. I always put the
I
power sword in his hand.
I always thought the battle axe was cool. That and the shield. The shield was a neat design.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like the shield.
And they had all the He-Man stuff, and my mom said, well, would you like one of those? And of course, I picked He-Man because he had the big axe,
Obviously,
and shield. And I didn't really think about Castle Grayskull, and for Christmas, there's this big box, and this kid, you're all excited, and you open it up, and I was just like, what is this? Because it was so big.
right?
I mean, it was a very big toy, but not knowing, because we started out with the little comic books that were in the toy.
Yeah,
and it was very different than
which
the
were a
show.
much more mature storyline than the
Yes.
Filmation show was.
So you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. So it was different than the show, and you're trying, as a young kid trying to put it all together, you couldn't do it. But it was just the fact that Castle Grayskull was so imposing as a playset, and it had all the different accessories, and some of them I didn't know what they were, and parts have got lost over the years, but it's still at mom and dad's, so it's still sitting there. It just needs to be gotten out and cleaned up, and which I don't have the nice man cave that you've got, Chad, to put all that stuff up. So it's kind of staying at
all
mom
I
and dad's
got.
right now.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's all I got.
You
fellas.
You got a great wife to allow that.
She does. She gets everything else, and I get this 12 by 10. It's the thing.
Yeah, I
But,
made that same deal with my wife. It's like I get the garage, and that was the first thing that
Yeah,
was taken over.
there
So.
you go.
John.
She said,
Okay.
she said, if you want to build another room in the garage, you can. And I'm like, well, how can I enjoy that?
That's no fun. Here, go find you a cubicle somewhere.
Yeah,
John,
that's at work.
That's
All
right.
of my clone troopers are on top of my desk at work.
that's awesome. No, I love that. I really think that's cool. I've got a, Grogu now, but Baby
Oh,
Yoda,
yeah.
Baby Yoda little, were the ones where they had a bunch of, you can get them in these on different poses and stuff like that. And my
Yeah.
son Brady gave me one of them, and it's sitting on my desk at work. So I gotta represent the geekness a little bit there.
At least they're clones and not just the Imperial stormtroopers, because clones could actually, target something and take it out.
Exactly.
John's a big clone fan. John,
Oh, yeah.
give us a little bit of your Christmas memory stuff.
I think, I remember getting some things, but I think I remember the last Christmas that I was allowed to get toys.
Okay.
And, and it was when I was 20 something. No, I'm kidding.
He's like last year.
Wait a minute. John, I know you. You've always at least gotten yourself toys for Christmas.
Exactly. I know I have a Monomon and an Imperial gun trooper coming in from a guy I told him, I said, that is like my Christmas, like miracle.
Love it.
But no, I remember my mom took me into Heels. I don't know if anybody remembers Heels,
yes.
department store.
Remember that?
That
one well.
place was amazing. And I was 13, and she took me in and she goes, "This is your last year getting toys." She said, "After this, you can get electronics, furniture, clothes, whatever, but we're not buying you any more toys." That was a sad year,
Yeah.
but I just stood there, and she's like, "You can get, so many toys." And I'm looking at G.I. Joe and you know, and Star Wars and all that. And I start thinking of, I was like, well, how much can I spend, you know? And she goes, well, this is your set amount. And it's kind of like, do I want like a Castle Grayskull or like the flag or something like that, or do I want to get like a bunch of figures and smaller vehicles?
Right. Yes to both.
And yeah, I should have chose the flag,
Yes.
but you know, you go with more bang for your buck. So I remember that was the year I think I got like the APC and you know, a bunch of figures and some other, you know, vehicles and stuff like that. But that was, I think, one of my most memorable Christmases, because it was like the last one that my parents said that they'd buy me toys.
Right.
But I can still remember, you know, spending my own money, or like, and it's horrible that I go back now and I think of like at yard sales that I would sell some of my toys to buy another toy.
Oh, no, dude, I'm 100% with you, because I've mentioned it on here before that I sold all of my vintage Transformers when I was like 13 to a guy that my dad worked with, because his son had seen Transformers in an old Sears wish book, and he wanted those. So I sold all of those to buy Super Mario Brothers 3. Worst investment ever. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not worth what I sold away for it. So I get that for sure. Jay.
But I mean, thank
Go
goodness
ahead,
for
John.
electronics. I mean, because they said, well, you can have electronics, and right after that, I mean, you've seen pictures of me with like the Donkey Kong game
Oh, yeah.
and the Pac-Man game. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can. And that was when Atari was coming out.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. And I was like, sweet, I'll do electronics.
Yeah, games. Yeah, and then you get back into the toys later, like a lot of us do. And,
Oh, yeah.
and recapture some of that stuff, you know. And,
Yeah.
And I like that open, you know, the tactile feel of having an open vintage toy. I mean, I have some stuff that's in the box, but I like the fact of having the thing that's open, and that's, you know, that's kind of my deal. I like that a lot.
No, you're talking about the boxes, Chad. And this was one. I had to buy my Nintendo because I remember everybody was getting them for Christmas, and I was like, I finally worked up the nerve to ask my dad, and he said, well, if you want one, you know, save up your money, and I'll take you to buy it.
Right.
We went to Toys R Us in Knoxville, which is long gone.
Toys
The one
R Us.
over- the one that was over by Easttown.
Let the memories still fill us with love and joy.
For $107, I got that Nintendo.
Yes,
And
sir.
it still works. It was taken very, you know, I took such good care of that. But what was neat was all the games that I had, I saved the boxes. I mean, they were mint. And
Do you
I had
still have
this-
those?
I'm getting to the sad part of the story.
Okay, all right. Okay, because I know when my son hears this, he's going to ask. So go ahead and.
So I had this little dresser nightstand in my room, and I had put all the boxes in there because I didn't use that bottom drawer for anything. So I put all the boxes in there. You know, they fit. I mean, Super Mario 3, the original Castlevania. I mean, just a bunch of games. And Dad kind of, like, when I moved out of the house, and my sister was in college, Dad kind of took over her room as like his man cave. And so they moved like my old bedroom suit in there, just, you know, because he would come in from mowing or whatever. He'd want to take a nap, and Mom wouldn't let him on the couch. So he's like, I'll move that bed in there, and, you know. And he brought that little nightstand. Well, they cleaned it out,
Oh, no.
and they put the boxes in a black trash bag and put it in the basement. And the basement had got flooded, and the wall collapsed.
Oh.
And so they had to repair, you know, all the wall and everything. And so much stuff got thrown away, and I still have not found those. I'm hoping beyond hope they're tucked in some little corner somewhere that I just haven't found, but I believe they got threw away. And I mean, they were. I still have the styrofoam insert that was in the bottom of the box.
See, that's good stuff, because they don't make packaging that looks like that anymore.
And I mean, well, the artwork on it was
Yeah.
tremendous, but just to have, I mean, 'cause I can still vividly remember the Castlevania one. I just thought that was just the coolest
yeah.
artwork. And yeah, just gone.
Yeah, I know. Jay, tell us a little bit about yours. I mean, now, mind you, Jay is 13 years younger than me, but we have a lot of the same interests. So, give us your experiences there with Christmas, because I guarantee I remember this too.
Yeah. Well, to kind of give a picture of what's going on. In their parents' house, there was a huge bay window, and that's where Mom would always put the tree up. And it was you just have to know Mom. She was very particular about presentation on things
Oh,
for
yeah.
Christmas, and she still is today. So if she listens to this, Mom, I love you.
She probably
But,
will,
here we
because I've
go.
run into her at the store. She's
Yeah.
talked about the show.
Yeah, but you know, it was one of those things, and it like I said, it still is today. When I was a kid, you could go and you know, you as a kid, you know, you're like, man, I want to shake this present or whatnot, and Mom would know. You could put it back, I mean, to like almost exactly the way it was, and Mom would come in and she'd be like, "Who's been under the tree?" It'd
like-
still be the
Like,
same way.
you know, measuring it out like the one brother on Step Brothers when he's measuring his drum set, you know, because he knows the other guy's touched it. It's the same deal.
Yeah, it really is, and I always get a chuckle out of that, and I still do. But also another thing was when I was growing up, you know, we talked about Bandit earlier. We had three boxers, three big, loud, bumbling boxers. And, you know, our bedrooms were upstairs, so me being a young kid, I'd try to sneak down, you know, and see what Santa had brought and all this kind of stuff. And the dogs were like a huge alarm clock. As soon as I'd take that first step, just whoa, 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 just run me back up into my room like, hey, you get back up there. But there's a couple of Christmas mornings I want to talk about. And the first one is, honestly, and sadly, it's a little foggier in my memory, but it was Power Rangers. My mom was big in themes for me when I was growing up, because I was one of those kids that had like, okay, I'm all into Power Rangers, I'm going to ignore everything else for a little while, and then in a few months I'm going to move to Batman or whatnot. But I remember there were several different sizes of Power Rangers. Like there was like a 12-inch figure, and then there was like a 6-inch figure. But she got me like an assortment of all of them, and I'm pretty sure that they might still be up there at her house, at least some of them. And I'm talking like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Now here comes John asking you if you want to sell them.
Yeah,
I can
I have to find them first.
I can remember fighting people at Toys R Us like Cabbage Patch Kids for those things.
Oh, gosh, I remember that on the news.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
And,
my wife
you know-
literally dove in and was like throwing them over her head at me.
Hey, guys! I may be going by your mom's house this afternoon after the show and seeing if there's anything she wants to get rid of.
I could help you clean that up.
I was about to say we may have to arrange a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, and what was awesome about the original Power Rangers was it was
Kimberly is what was awesome about the original Power Rangers.
yeah, you know, and I actually met her at Fanboy a couple
Yeah,
years
she's
ago,
nice.
and it was like the you know, every '90s little boy's first crush. You know, it was awesome. I met her and Jason David Frank, who was
He is awesome.
Tommy, and he was like the every '90s boy's hero. You know, so it was kind of cool. But the next one was Star Wars, and Chad, I'm sure you're gonna remember this, but I had like, and not like when I grew up, you know, you all had like the basic, you know, the articulation and everything was just, you know, the arm was
Five
straight
points of
up.
articulation, yeah.
Yeah. Now the figures that I grew up on, and I was very blessed with this, but they actually, you know, they look like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and
Yeah, except for the
Carrie
Mark Hamill figures, the Luke Skywalker figures,
Yeah.
look like he had gotten juiced on steroids.
Yeah, you're not talking about the muscle
Yeah,
figures, are
Yes, yeah, he's talking about the
Yeah,
muscle
muscles.
figures.
Yes. Yeah,
It's like,
they had muscles.
look at me, I'm ripped now.
And then, you know, even a few years after that, it got advanced to where I had a Bespin Luke Skywalker that had a removable hand, and I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. And I had a Return of the Jedi Darth Vader that had the same thing, his hand removed, and his helmet came off. You could see, you know, the Anakin Skywalker face. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
But
The Luke had a variant hand too.
yeah, and the thing that I remember most was I got a Millennium Falcon, it's been like the same mold for years, but I remember Chad helping put all the stickers on that thing, and I think there was like, I don't know, like several hundred.
There was a
stickers.
bunch. But the advantage of having a brother that was 13 years younger than me is I got to play with toys again. You know,
Yeah.
I got to put stickers on toys and play. It was like, hey, we got to play Star Wars again. I mean, the Power Rangers like, all right, we'll fight, but Star Wars, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, and then I remember you telling me one time about you and Dad, and maybe Mom, I'm not sure, but you made that cardboard AT-AT.
Yeah, Dad did that entirely for me.
Yeah, and I ended up, because they didn't have one or something, or maybe it's just hard to find back when you were growing up. But when I was growing up, they actually had the AT-AT toy, which I do know for sure is at Mom's.
Yeah, I've seen it
But
up there.
unfortunately, where it was in that closet and turned the light on, it's so tall. It was like next to the light, so it's got like a little melted spot on the top of it. But yeah,
Battle damage,
that
Jay.
thing
It's
was
battle
really
damage.
That's
cool.
what it is. Yeah, he took a good
Yeah,
hit.
yeah.
But I mean, that's neat too, because and it's funny how toys will resurface again. You know, when I was a kid, you know, Star Wars, and then it came back for when Jay was a kid too. So that's pretty neat. But you know, it's you know, you see some of those pictures and things of like the toy aisles from back when we were kids, and you know, this big array of GI Joes and all these nice, you know, artwork boxes and everything like that, and you just don't get that stuff now.
No.
And John knows, because you know he's got some modern stuff too, and it's just the
So-
package is just not the same.
Yeah.
You know,
And I buy just boxes now, just old boxes.
yeah,
You know, somebody will just be selling a box, and I'll pay like $100 for a box.
Oh.
but it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for
But it's-
art.
it's
It's the
awesome.
artwork of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got.
So
a
what
point,
would you have gave for about 30 Nintendo boxes?
I
Asking
don't
for
do
a friend.
Nintendo. Yeah.
My son Brady would though. He'll buy
Yeah,
it
no.
for you if you can find him. I guarantee it.
That's the coolest thing about those anniversary Black Series Star Wars figures, is they've got those, you know, original Kenner box art on it, and I think that's one of the things that I like the most about those.
Yeah, and you're talking about the old stuff, John. I've got a Point Dread and Talon Fighter box up on top of my Detloff over here. I bought it at that little antique place, Mary Des Antiques in La Follette, for like $5 for this box. I mean, it's not the greatest, but the artwork is cool, and you
Well, it
just
still
you
survives.
don't see
I
that.
mean,
It's a
it
painting.
exists.
You know,
Yeah.
the He-Man stuff were paintings. You know, they didn't. You know, so that. But that's pretty cool.
Well, that's kind of like the original artwork in a lot of the early Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that they were actual paintings,
Oh yeah.
and some of them were huge. I mean, we're talking like a 30-foot painting that they
I-
did.
I can remember playing Dungeons and Dragons right when it came out, and I could buy the modules for it at there had these old stores called a White Store and a White Way.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, we had white stores.
Yeah.
And the White Way was all the product stuff, you know, so that was where my mom would be grocery shopping in the White Store next door, and I'd go to the White Way with my sister and be looking at the modules and the books and all that, and, you know, be buying that because me and my friends played D&D growing up.
Well, and we never outgrew that, me and Wes.
No, we're still playing.
But Joe, you're talking about like the last time that you got toys for Christmas. I remember, and if our buddy Terrence was on here, he could tell you about it. But I remember, and I was probably 12 or 13 or something. I went to Roses in La Follette where we grew up, and I bought Terrence a Storm Shadow action figure, the white. He's in the white camo kind of stuff, for the later in the series. And I gave it to
the
him
one with the red backpack, yeah.
Yes, and I got one sitting over on the shelf that was mine, but I gave one to Terrence back then when we were kids, and he still got it. He found it one time when we were over there at a cookout or something, and he would show it to me. I got a picture of me and him and it, and that was pretty neat because back then, it's that time where you're starting to kind of grow out of it because you're starting to be too cool for it, and then but I had to get it for him then, and then 20 years later we're back buying them again. So
I can still remember that. I had the original Storm Shadow, and it started getting little scratches on it and stuff. And I remember Whiteout come out, and I took Whiteout and patched those little scratches on him and all that. So I mean, I was like, I look back on that now and go, man, the damage I done to that thing by painting that sucker.
Now, in retrospect, you're like, oh, damn it.
Well, yeah, but see, we were playing with toys. We didn't realize.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
30, 35 years later, that there's going to be a lot of money in this 3-inch piece of plastic.
No, you didn't think about that back then. And it's funny, he mentioned displaying stuff at Christmas.
Yeah.
And I do remember back that my parents always displayed one toy or, put together a bicycle, something like that at Christmas. And I do remember coming in at one Christmas, and I remember the Dewback sitting on top of his box. He was sitting on top of his box. My mom or dad had taken him out, put him on top of the box and put one of the figures. They pulled it out of the thing, of the wrapper, and put him in it. And I couldn't, because they always wanted, before everybody could get woke up, you could play with that one toy. And so I remember just running in and grabbing him and just walking around with him and stuff. And
yeah. So when you went underneath, or when you go to the Christmas tree when you were a kid, their stuff was still in boxes?
Oh, yeah. Everything was all wrapped up. It'd either be wrapped up or it'd have like where I poked a hole in it trying to figure out what was in it and have a piece of tape over it.
Yeah, Santa would always unbox things and have them put together, but everything else was wrapped up. But I still think, even as a kid, I think the boxes provided an excitement level, though, if you saw it, especially like Masters Universe that had all the cool artwork and stuff.
Oh, dude, I remember one that I was really excited about was, you remember Lincoln Logs? Jay has no clue what we're talking about, but
I know what they are.
Not Legos, Lincoln Logs.
But honestly, it was like
I played with some of Chad's toys.
Jay is really used to having his balls busted by us, so John, don't worry about it. He'll snap back in a minute.
But it was like it's like a 2.5 foot cardboard tube, that all Lincoln Logs was in, and I remember they were wrapped up, so I'm like, what is this? And there was like two jugs of them, and that was so cool, just the way it was presented, I guess. It's just a round cylinder that is wrapped up with a big bow on top of it. And my mom loves big bows, and so she put a big bow on each one of them. And there's a picture somewhere of me and my sister, and we're sitting there with them. And just when you said that made me think of that that was the way it was presented. I mean, because they left everything in the box. Mom liked to wrap stuff. She was really good at wrapping. And the only one that I can remember we got that really wasn't wrapped was, I want to say 87, 88. Dad had got tired of not being able to watch the Braves play baseball, because we had the one TV, in the living room. And so he had got me and my sister a little TV. We each had a TV in our room. And then that was when I got big and brave and asked for the Nintendo. And so, that was something that was really cool. But, you walk in and there's like, I got a TV.
You look back and you see some of these things, and like I know me and John have been recollecting some of these old things. And, and I got my brother. Was it Batmobile from the animated series I got you last year?
Yeah, it's still in that original packaging.
Yeah, I got it down at Tall Man, and I mean it was open, but the thing was never put together. I mean, like the sticker sheet's still in it.
Oh,
So
wow.
I think that was kind of cool because I remember Jay playing with it. We played with it, and I just wish I knew where all those Superpowers collection guys were that I know you played with that were mine.
Yeah.
I got about
did,
3 sitting over here on my shelf now that were my originals. I've bought some more since then, but damn if I could just find that freaking Batmobile again. John, you don't have one of those, do you?
Not. I do have some Batmobiles. I found one at Carn, but it's not that old though.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
I mean, it's one of the, I think one of the original ones, but I don't think it's actually a Superpowers Batmobile.
Oh, okay. Yeah. John's pretty good about rolling around and hitting those Carm and
Oh my gosh.
and Goodwills and stuff like that. For those of you that are listening that are not from Knoxville, Carm is like a Goodwill, but locally.
I found 23. It was, I literally, when I picked it up, and I was like, dang, this is a lot of Legos. And I could see little Star Wars guys in it, stuff like that. And I don't really do Legos.
But we got a guy we can send you to.
Yeah, I already told him about him.
Yeah, I brought it home and I weighed it. It was 23 pounds of Legos.
Good Lord.
And I tried to like separate it all, and my eyes started going cross. But I turned around and sold it to a guy locally that loves Legos, and it's always good to turn something like that to somebody that's going to actually enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a big part of this too, and we've talked about that on the podcast several times before. Is that this arena of stuff, this genre, this geek nerd toy, comic game kind of people will sort of help each other out. I mean, there is a
it's one
profit
big
to be
community.
made. There is a profit to be made by some folks, but I know that John's given me deals before at shows, and some guys that I know that have bought things from John before have also gotten good deals from him, because I know he's got to make a little bit of money, but he likes to pass those things off to guys that are fans.
Yeah, like a guy that's going to resell it, I'm not going to give him a good deal,
Right.
Because I know he's got to make money on it, and I got to make money on it. But to another collector, yeah, I'm gonna give you a good deal, because I know you're gonna put it in your collection. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna look at it. So it's things like that I like to help people out with.
Yeah, there's a guy I used to work with, worked for me for a while, Jason Llewellyn. I know he listens to the show. He's a big G.I. Joe guy, and he, at a Fanboy, he bought I think it was G.I. Joe headquarters from you. And
Yeah.
I saw him when he walked in the place. I was like, Jason, you got to go find the big, tall, bald guy over there with all the G.I. Joes and check his stuff out, because he's a great dude. And he come back a little while later, and he was like, holy crap, look what I got from him.
Yeah.
And I know that he was like, it's such a good deal. So
Yeah,
I
I wished I
do.
wouldn't have sold it.
I try to tell his nice story, and John's like, damn it, I wish I hadn't sold that one.
that sucker has shot up in value here recently. I'm like kicking myself.
Well, you made somebody happy. How about that?
I did, and I'm putting together another one. I found another one, and so I'm putting it together slowly. But it's amazing. Here, the past, I don't know, probably, what would you say, Chad? About 5 or so years, the market on them has just shot through the roof on a
Yeah,
lot of stuff.
on all vintage stuff, and I don't know, John, if it's like that toy collector or that toy hunter show that came on, or something like that that's kind of boosted this sort of thing. I don't know, but you're right.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
there are
either.
things like you used to be able to find things for pretty cheap, and now you can't.
Yeah. If you do now, it's like, and it's truly like an old person that is cleaning something out, and I'll hear guys talk about it like, yeah, I went by this old couple's house, and they said their kids didn't want it anymore, so they're just getting rid of it, and they will come into this like mother lode of stuff, and I'm like, I haven't done that yet, but I mean, I just hear about it all the time, and I know it's out there.
Well, I know I've got some friends, because I do a lot of comic book collecting, and one of the guys that I get some stuff from, he has a guy that does like house demos and renovations, and he will find like old properties or people. Oh, I've got this old barn out back I need tore down, and he'll go in there and there's stuff that's been just put away and forgotten about. And John's told him, if you see any comic books or there's certain things that he trades in, he's like, let me know. And it's pretty regular. And I mean, he's finding like old Dells and three colors, like Donald Ducks and Mickey Mouses and things like that. And he does like you. He will help people out as far as on the price. I mean, there's some things I think he sells a little low, or maybe he should hang on to, but he's trying to get it out to the community, which I think is really cool and very admirable.
Right. Well, John, do you still doing some? You got a website or a Facebook page, or are you just setting up at shows when they have them now?
I mean, I've got a Facebook, and most of my Facebook, I got tired of all the drama from family and some friends and all that of just, back and forth on things. So it's mostly just collectors groups that I'm on with now.
Oh, okay.
And we try to help each other out through the different groups and with each other and stuff. And I'll always say, if you're looking for something, let me know. It's because like Daryl Johnson, you remember him?
Yeah, I know Daryl. Yeah.
Huge Star Wars guy, and he's gotten into Masters Universe now.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Daryl at a show back last year.
Yeah, and he's another one of those guys.
Oh yeah, you won't expect him to collect
You would-
toys.
Yeah, you would never expect, and I mean, he's like a biker-looking guy,
Yep.
and at one of the shows he's walking around, and he's all like, you're like, oh man, there's a Hell's Angels guy walking around in here.
Yeah. Tons of
And-
tattoos, big beard,
and-
long hair.
And he's got like a what's the alcohol with the purple fuzzy bag.
Oh, Crown Royal.
Crown Royal.
So he's walking around with a Crown Royal bag at one of the shows, and I'm like, Daryl, what are you doing with a Crown Royal bag? And he goes, look what's inside. And
Nice.
he pulls out of the Crown Royal bag a clear cube with a rocket firing Boba Fett attached in the middle.
What?
And he goes, look, and he goes, this is one of my crown jewels. And I was like, holy shit, Daryl.
What is? Where did that come from, and why are you? Don't let anybody see it.
And so, when I ran into him, about a year or so ago, again, I was like, do you still have that? He goes, nah, I sold it. And then I found another, and I bought another. And he goes, I think he actually had two in his possession at that time.
Hell, there's not that many of them.
Wow.
No, and he, where he travels and so much. I mean, he finds stuff, and it's just
That's amazing.
And what's like, since we're talking about Christmas, what's the one Christmas toy that you wanted but you didn't get as a kid that you probably bought as an adult?
I can hit that one. I know that one for sure. I wanted the I wanted the AT-AT.
Yes.
I wanted an AT-AT, and either when I was a kid when it came out, Jay had talked about it earlier, the cardboard one. I've mentioned it several times, but it was very difficult for my parents to get, or it was too expensive to get at the time. So my dad went down to the local grocery store and got a bunch of corrugated cardboard boxes and built one. And so that was my AT-AT. But I have yet to actually purchase one as an adult. For nostalgic sake, I would like to get one of the, from our youth, not the repro or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I would like to recoup that. What about you, John? What about you, buddy?
My cousin had one, and I was so jealous over it. Every time we went over to play at his house, he just, I was just like, I want one of these so bad, and never got one. And I think that was it wasn't the vintage one, but it was the re-release one that I ended up finding and buying. And I was just ecstatic about it. But I finally have pieced together one of the vintage ones. I mean,
Nice.
It works, it lights up, it makes sounds. It took me forever to find both chin cannons, but yeah, I think Star Wars line was the main one that I had always wanted, and then the G.I. Joe was the Rattler.
Oh,
That was
okay.
such a cool plane.
They're re-releasing
Always.
that now in the vintage line. I saw that. It's supposed to be
Oh.
like, it's probably like a freaking Target exclusive or something. But I saw that come out, something about it the other day.
See, I have it, and I have the re-release of it, so it'd be nice to get another re-release.
There
of
you
it.
go. There you go. Yeah. What about you, Wes? You can answer that question. John's asking the questions today. Boom.
I always wanted the original Megatron. That was
Oh, the
one
pistol.
that was one I never had. I still don't because I don't collect toys the way that y'all do. I'm more of a comic book
Yeah, he's a comic guy. Yeah.
collector. But that was one, and the original Soundwave. And
Yeah.
I'd actually a guy that I'd worked with, because being a Pepsi man, you're in lots of different grocery stores over the years, and I had met a guy that was he was into Transformers, and one of the things that I had was the collector's case, but it had the original artwork where they actually looked like the toys.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like the cartoons or anything. And it was a little collector's case, kind of like the He-Man collector's case. And all the little weapons and parts, because I'd have like 3 Constructicons, they've all got different parts to make Devastator. Well, they got put in the box.
Right.
And he was trying to put the Stunticons together to make Minosaur, and he was missing the little roll plate and the hands and the face and the sword, and he goes, I can't find them anywhere. I'm like, dude, I've got them. And so I traded all the little parts for that to get the tail plate for my trailer to Optimus Prime, because I'd lost it.
Oh, okay.
And he said, yeah, man, if you've got anything else like that. And I said, well, he was doing one of the dinosaurs that the Decepticons had that merged. I can't remember right off what they were. But he goes, I've got all of them except the guy that goes in the middle. I'm like, that's the one that I've got. And so I traded him that for original Soundwave and Ravage.
There you go.
So he is sitting on top of Optimus Prime's trailer.
There you go.
Cassette mode. So what about you, Jay? You've been kind of quiet on us there. What was the one thing that...
I'd have to say it was the Green Ranger's Dragon Dagger. It was always one of the coolest props from the show that I liked. And one of my friends in elementary school, when I'd go into his house and play it, he had one, and I think it was just so rare. Anything Green Ranger was so rare back then because he was only on the show for so long, because in the original Japanese show they actually kill the Green Ranger. And
I was about to say he was like a short-term villain, and then in the American version they made him more of a main character.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be, and the fans really liked Tommy, and so they decided to keep him around, and that's why the White Ranger came around, and the White Ranger is actually from a different series. They just borrowed him for Power Rangers.
Now
Well,
you had the white lion dagger thing, didn't you?
Yeah, Saba. I had Saba, which was really awesome. I'm pretty sure I still have him up at Mom's as well. But I always wanted that Dragon Dagger. And then when I got older, they did, for like the 25th anniversary or 20th anniversary or whatever it was, they did a Hasbro, I think it's Hasbro. They had a re-release, and it was like the Legacy series or something. It was actually looked better than the actual prop that they used in the show. And I had that for a short amount of time, but and I opened it and had it and everything, but the tip of the dagger was a little bit bent, and I'm a little obsessive about stuff like that, so I ended up selling it. And I haven't got another one yet, but that was a toy I always wanted.
John, you don't have any of those Dragon Daggers laying around, do you?
I have it's funny that was it the Saba, the sword, white sword?
Yeah.
I found it, and it's like a black series. I mean, it's like really nice design. I found it at Carm about a month ago for $5.
What?
I literally like picked it up and went, that's like really nice. And I was like $5. Yeah, and I like Googled it real quick, and I was like, holy crap, that's a Black Series. I'm like, anything Black Series
Yeah.
is money, you know. And so I like tried to run it at, you know, pay as fast as I could before they realized what they had. But
John's that guy. He finds stuff at these stores all the time.
yeah,
I feel like
Goodwill's
some
not
people
really
are
a
just
good place,
blessed.
but man, Carm, my gosh.
So he's giving out his honey hole now.
I've,
Everybody will
I've,
be going to Carm.
I found Thundercats, you know, at Carm, and it kills me. Nothing ever has weapons. I'm like, there's got to be a bag of weapons sitting around here somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. You know, actually, I found some stuff, some decent deals on things down at McKay Used Bookstore a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Every now and then, but sometimes they actually do a pretty good search and come up with a
Yeah.
decent price on something. But yeah, man, hey, that's pretty awesome talking about the old Christmas stuff, Wes. And this is the first time we've ever had two other guys on the show at one time. So let's do something interesting with the Nerdy Old Man Rapid Fire Question Session.
Dun dun dun.
How about this? How about I'll do questions for John, you do questions for Jay, and we'll do 3 or
you're
4
reading my
questions.
mind on that
You like that? All right.
I like
Wes, you go. All right, here's the deal. If you guys ever listened to our crazy foolishness before, we'll ask you some kind of random geek nerd question, and you just come out with the first response that you can come up with. So, Jay, you'll be up first. Wes, hammer away.
Okay, Jay, you get to be in any science fiction series from Babylon 5, Firefly, Star Wars, Star Trek. What are you going with?
Oh, I'm definitely going with Star Wars.
The Force is strong with this one.
John, you're in the Star Wars universe. You have a chance to enlist with the Rebellion or the Empire. Where are you going?
It's always going to be Empire.
Hell yes.
That or be a bounty hunter.
That wasn't the choice, Wes.
Yeah, no.
That's why I'm a bounty hunter.
Breaking the rules, Wes. Go ahead.
Okay, Jay, I'll give you a softball here. Marvel or DC?
Ooh, are we talking comic books or
Just in general.
In general.
just in general? Definitely gonna go with DC because Batman.
Okay, that's the wrong answer, but we'll take it.
John, Picard or Kirk?
Oh. Picard.
Yes, sir. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Everybody's answering correctly today.
Except for Jay, but that's okay. Okay, Jay, you get to either go back to the 80s knowing everything that you know now. What are you going... You get to collect one thing. What is it?
Ooh, probably either the Star Wars or the GI Joes. I never got to do much with GI Joes because I think by the 90s
It was crap.
started.
Yeah,
Whatever was
they
there was
went on
crap.
like crazy. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, so,
Not, 90
So
to
that would be
92,
mine.
still good.
yeah, so my that would be my choice, either the original Star Wars or the Empire.
That's a great
Jedi,
answer.
or-
Either one of those is acceptable.
John, you have to go on a 4-hour vehicle car drive. The radio doesn't work and you don't have a cell phone that's working, but you have to drive that entire way with one superhero or supervillain. Who is it?
Probably Flash.
You know, that's a unique answer. We
That
haven't
is.
had that before.
Thinking.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
You know, he can,
John's going to pull the car over and get on Flash's back and like get her quicker.
Make it quicker.
well, no, I'm gonna pull over and go, okay, I need to know before this is at. And he'll be like, pow, 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 and he'll be come back, okay, we need to go this way. All right, dude.
Oh, so you're driving in like
See?
a U-Haul truck or something, and just getting him to load
What-
up the back, and you're
Well,
just going.
see, John has done the Kubarashi Maru here with Kirk. Is what he's done is he's figured out he doesn't have a cell phone or radio, so he doesn't have a GPS, but he can use the Flash as a living GPS.
Yes. Yes.
See, yeah,
Flash is my
John.
man. He can like run ahead, check stuff. He can be like, man, there was 2 antique stores on the way. We can stop by those, and I even seen a GI Joe in this one. Like, man, you're my man.
John is brilliant. All right, Wes, go ahead.
Okay, Jay, does pineapple go on a pizza?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go no.
No.
I tell you what, Jay just keeps answering them wrong. I don't know what's
Him
wrong with your
and,
little
and
brother.
Pat from Brick House both said no on that. I can't believe
I
it.
agree.
Oh, John.
I think that's
Well,
like
this
a-
show's been a total bust, so join us next week.
Okay, one more for John individually here. Cobra or G.I. Joe?
Cobra.
Cobra. La, 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 la. Obviously, absolutely.
So much more awesome guys in Cobra.
Agreed.
Well, Cobra kind of just lets you do like whatever. It's like, hey man, what if we made a buzz saw and just turn on its edge, and the driver kind of jumps inside, and it's got some guns.
And the weather control
Build it.
machine.
Build it.
Obviously.
Well,
Yeah,
Joe,
Weather Dominator.
Joe vehicles always went with military vehicles. Cobra's like, okay, man, we're gonna put like five laser cannons on this, with a howitzer.
It's
and
a
just make
pogo
it-
stick that you set in, and it has rockets on it.
Yeah. Now GI Joe, the guys will still blow it up, but it looks cool.
I love it.
I'd like to. One more thing about the Power Ranger toys is
Yeah.
what's interesting is if you follow Jason David Frank on any of his social media,
He is
sometimes
awesome.
He has some stuff from the show back in the '90s, and what's funny is the morpher that he uses is actually the toy that they sold to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they
really?
Just painted it gold and velcroed his dragon coin to it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
He'll talk to you online, and like Daniel Logan, he'll talk to you online. I mean, they're both like awesome
Yeah, it's
guys.
super cool.
Yeah,
That's
it
super
was
cool.
neat. We were at Fanboy, and we were dressed up as Guardians of the Galaxy, and we were walking around, and he actually came over. He was fixing to leave, and he goes, "Can I get a picture with you guys?" And we're like,
That's cool.
"Yeah."
I had
it's,
to, I had to guard Jason David Frank all day. After,
I bet that was
after
rough,
his-
right?
Yeah, that was rough. After his attempted, that the guy tried to
Oh,
kill
yeah,
him
with
at
the-
Phoenix Con, he was a little nervous, and at first he was like, "Nah, I'm okay," and then he gets to Fanboy, and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of need somebody," and so I come in that day, I'm supposed to be working security, and they go, "Hey, we need you to be the officer with his bodyguard over here," and so me and him just like hung out all day, and he's pretty cool.
You're like, this is the greatest extra job
Rough
ever.
gig.
Yeah,
Rough
yeah.
gig right there.
Yeah, it was rough.
Before we close out, I got another good question here, and kind of circling back around to Toys at Christmas, because that's the greatest thing ever, right? Here's the question for each of us, and I'll start. If on Christmas morning you went downstairs right now, as the age you are, and you went down and you looked under the tree, and what toy from back in the day would you hope would be there? So this is like your Grail thing, right? What would you want to be there, and what would you not want to be there? Okay, so for me, number one, I would love to see a vintage Scareglow from Masters of the Universe under there, complete. What I would not want to see is the Superpowers Collection Justice Jogger, because that damn thing was just stupid. All right, Wes, or somebody jump in.
I was gonna say Megatron, vintage,
you go,
vintage Megatron, and then I was just happy to get anything. We didn't have nothing. So. I pretty much take anything.
All right, that's a cop out on the second question,
Yeah.
but that's okay, Wes. John, lay some intelligence on us here.
I would hope for like to come down and there'd be like this huge box, and I'd be like, "It's the flag,"
Yeah, there you go.
it's the freaking flag. Or I would see another box and I would open it up and it would be like a Power Ranger.
There you go. Schmack.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
It'd be like the yellow Power Ranger, and I'd be like, "Really? You couldn't even at least got me Kim?"
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I got to mention that I
worst
really
one.
like this guy.
Okay, Jay, since he took a 2x4 over your head there, go ahead.
Yeah, let me recover from that. No, I'd have to say it'd be that dang dragon dagger, man.
Yeah.
I would
Hint,
just
hint.
love to have that.
Yeah.
No.
Anybody out there, Mom?
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be cool, and I still think those are the original. Like the toy is still pretty hard to find. But
All right, JDF, if
Oh,
you're
so-
listening, you got a fan here that needs a dragon dagger.
That's right.
The
Yeah,
the
but-
Zords
yeah.
were the best.
Yes.
yeah, that was pretty cool. A Dragon Zord would be really cool to have too.
Oh yeah.
I never had that. I had the Megazord. But anyways, what I would like to not have is to have open up a box and it be like socks and underwear.
Hey, dude, when you get older, those are great presents.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, now, no, seriously, that's what I was about to say. I was like, you've reached the pinnacle of adulthood when you get socks and underwear, and you're like, yes.
I can throw away the ones that got holes in them.
Hey, I got mad last year because I didn't get any socks. I was very upset.
But the problem,
Unless it's tidy whities.
yeah. Well, but the problem for
Yeah,
like,
even then, I'd take those. You know.
like me and John is, I actually want that kind of stuff for Christmas because I buy the other stuff I want and I don't
Yeah.
buy,
Yeah.
and I don't buy socks and underwear, so I get holes in them.
Yeah.
Hey, that was fun, guys. I really appreciate you both, Meatshield J and John the Clone, coming on with us today, and we definitely want to have you guys back for sure. Both you guys got experience at going to cons. John's got experience at running booths at cons, and we plan on doing a couple of shows about conventions in the near future. So we'll definitely want you guys to come back on. And it's nice to have Jay from he's becoming a nerdy old man. He's not quite there yet because of the year that he was born, but he does like the same things that we have, and it's kind of nice to have that other aspect on here as well. So we appreciate
30's knocking on the door.
yeah that happens, and when we can ever have cons again, I know John will be at cons, so
Oh yeah.
look for the tall bald man that doesn't look like he should be collecting toys, but he
Yeah.
does, and you will find good deals there. So until next time, this is the Nerdy Old Men podcast. Merry Christmas, everybody. Wes?
Yeah.
Redneck Wes, I am fresh out of caffeinated soda and nacho cheese flavored tortilla chips. What am I going to do?
Have you thought about using Instacart?
Instacart, you're right. They say that they'll save you a trip to the market. They'll deliver groceries to you in as fast as an hour. They connect you with personal shoppers in your area to shop at all your local favorite stores and deliver groceries right to your front door.
If you follow the link in our show notes, this will let Instacart know that we sent you, which will help support our show. And by using our link, you will get free delivery on your first order over $35.
That sounds like a great idea. I think I'm going to do that. You know, they'll pick the freshest produce and keep your eggs safe too. That's Instacart.